There will come a moment, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, when everything in you whispers that it's time to let go, when the weight feels too heavy, when the road ahead seems too long, too uncertain, and the thought of taking just one more step feels impossible. In those moments, quitting doesn't just look like an option. It feels like the only way out, but that's not the whole story, because deep down, beneath the doubt, beyond the fatigue, there is something else. There's a fire that still flickers, however faint, a belief, a dream, an idea that first brought you here. You may have forgotten it for a moment, buried it under stress, fear, or failure, but it's still there. It's the part of you that knows you didn't come this far just to walk away. You see, strength isn't found in never feeling tired. It isn't built in easy times or forged through comfort. Real strength, enduring strength, is born when you face the wall and refuse to turn around. When you stumble and still rise, when everything around you says, give up, and you say, not today. And let's be honest, there will be setbacks. There will be times when you work as hard as you can and still fall short. When people doubt you, when you doubt yourself, that's normal, that's human. But what separates those who succeed from those who quit isn't talent. It isn't luck, it's grit, it's resilience. It's the choice every day to keep showing up, even when it hurts. Remember, the people you admire, the ones who have changed things, built things, achieved what once seemed impossible, they all had moments of doubt. They all faced failure. What made the difference is that they kept going. Step by step, day by day. So if today is hard, breathe. If you're tired, rest. But don't quit, because the story isn't over. The path you're walking might be steep, but it leads somewhere worth going. And when you finally arrive, when you look back and see how far you've come, you'll understand that the struggle was never wasted. It made you stronger, it made you wiser, it made you ready, so don't quit. Not now, not yet. The world still needs what only you can give. Keep going. There are moments in life when the pressure builds, the progress feels slow, and the dream that once filled you with excitement starts to seem out of reach. In those moments, the idea of quitting doesn't just drift in quietly. It crashes into your mind with full force. It tells you that maybe you're not cut out for this, that maybe your efforts don't matter, that it would be easier, less painful to just walk away, and you begin to wonder if that voice might be right. But here's what's real. That feeling is part of the process. It's something everyone encounters, no matter how strong, smart, or determined they seem on the outside. Struggles are not signs of weakness. They're proof that you're stretching, growing, and reaching beyond what's comfortable. The presence of challenge doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. In fact, it often means you're exactly where you need to be. The idea that success is smooth and straightforward is a myth. The truth is, even the most accomplished people, those we look up to, have wrestled with the urge to give up. They've had late nights filled with doubt, days when progress was invisible, and times when the world seemed to say no at every turn. But they didn't stop. Not because it was easy, but because they knew that struggle wasn't the enemy. Quitting was. Feeling like quitting is not a failure. It's a crossroads. It's a moment that asks you to decide who you really are and what you really want. And that decision, to stay in the fight, to keep showing up, to take one more step forward, is what defines the path ahead. That decision turns ordinary effort into extraordinary resilience. So when that voice inside whispers that it's time to quit, pause, breathe, understand that you're not alone in feeling this way. And remember that the discomfort you feel right now is the very thing that's shaping you into someone stronger. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. This moment of difficulty is not the end of the road. It's part of the journey that leads to something greater. Keep going. When you began this journey, whatever it may be, you were driven by something. Maybe it was a dream you couldn't shake, a vision of a better future, or a quiet belief that you were meant for more. That spark, that inner pull, gave you the courage to take the first step. It lit a fire in you, even if it was small. Over time, though, It's easy for that original purpose to get buried beneath the weight of everyday struggles. Pressure, setbacks, criticism, and fatigue all pile up, and slowly that dream starts to fade into the background, harder to hear, easier to doubt. But just because you can't feel it in this moment doesn't mean it's gone. That original purpose, that reason you started, it's still there, it hasn't left you. It's simply waiting for you to reconnect with it. Sometimes we get so caught up in the grind that we forget what we're really fighting for. We become focused only on the obstacles and forget the vision that made those challenges worth facing. Think back. What drove you at the beginning? What did you hope to achieve, to build, to become? Maybe it was the desire to create a better life for your family. Maybe it was a calling to serve others, or a passion that kept you awake at night. Whatever it was, it came from a true place within you. And that truth doesn't disappear just because the journey has gotten hard. Your dream is not fragile. It's not something that disappears because you're tired or discouraged. It's resilient, just like you. It can be quiet for a time, but it doesn't vanish. In fact, those moments when you feel furthest from your dream are often when you need to revisit it the most. To sit still, remember what you're fighting for, and let that purpose rise back to the surface. When you reconnect with your why, it gives new meaning to the struggle. It shifts your perspective. Suddenly, the pain has a purpose again. The setbacks become part of the story, not the end of it. That inner reason, your original fire, is the anchor that holds you steady when everything else feels uncertain. Trust it. Return to it. It's still there, waiting to remind you who you are and why you must keep going. Strength is often misunderstood. Many people think it's about being tough all the time, about never feeling fear or never getting tired. But real strength, the kind that lasts, the kind that shapes lives, isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet. It shows up in the hardest moments, not when everything is going well, but when everything feels like it's falling apart, and you still choose to keep going. It's easy to feel strong when you're winning, when the results come quickly, when everything falls into place. But that's not where character is built. True strength is forged in discomfort, in failure, in the quiet battles that nobody sees. It comes from showing up on the days you don't feel like it, from trying again after you've failed, from believing in something even when the world gives you every reason to stop. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has had to endure struggle. There are no exceptions. The difference is they didn't let the struggle define them. They let it shape them. They understood that pain is a part of progress, that difficulty is not a sign to quit, but a signal that you're growing. Just like muscles don't get stronger without resistance, your resilience doesn't develop without challenges. There's a certain kind of strength that only comes from doing what's uncomfortable, from waking up early when you're tired, from staying focused when distractions surround you, from choosing discipline over convenience. It's in these everyday decisions, these small acts of effort, that true strength is built, not overnight. Not in a single moment, but gradually, steadily, through repetition and grit. You won't always feel powerful. In fact, you'll often feel unsure. That's okay. Real strength doesn't require you to be fearless. It just asks that you keep moving forward, even if your steps are small. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to keep asking the right questions, to keep trying, to keep believing. When things get tough, remind yourself, this is where growth happens. This is where you become more than who you were, and if you can find the strength to push through now, right here, in the hard part, you'll discover that you're capable of far more than you ever imagined. Failure is something we're taught to fear. From an early age, we learn to avoid it, to treat it like a sign that we're not good enough, not smart enough, not ready. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Failure is not the end of the road. It's part of the journey. In fact, it's one of the most valuable parts, because within every setback, every disappointment, every moment that doesn't go as planned, there's a lesson waiting to be learned. No one who has ever achieved anything meaningful did so without stumbling along the way. They faced rejection, they made mistakes, they heard no more times than they can count, but they didn't stop, not because they were immune to failure, but because they understood that failure was a necessary part of growth. It wasn't a sign to turn back. It was a sign to dig deeper, to reflect, to adjust, and to keep moving forward. You can learn more from a single failure than from a dozen easy wins. Failure teaches you humility. It shows you your blind spots. It forces you to be honest with yourself. And if you let it, it builds resilience. The kind of resilience that no shortcut or quick success can ever give you. It makes you tougher. It gives you perspective. It reminds you that progress isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it hurts, but it's real. The most dangerous thing about failure isn't the experience itself. It's how we interpret it. Too often, we take a single failure and turn it into a permanent label. We tell ourselves, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But failure doesn't define you. What you do after it does. Will you let it stop you, or will you let it strengthen you? The people who rise to the top aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who refused to be broken by it. They took their defeats and used them as fuel. They turned every fall into an opportunity to rise better, wiser, more prepared than before. That's the mindset that makes all the difference. So when you fall short, and you will because everyone does, don't see it as the end, see it as a step. A painful, powerful, necessary step on the path to where you're meant to be. Failure isn't final unless you let it be. Keep going. Progress can often feel invisible. You put in the work, the hours, the energy, and sometimes it seems like nothing is happening. The results you hoped for don't show up right away. The recognition doesn't come. The change feels slow, even stagnant, and in those moments doubt starts to creep in. You begin to wonder if any of it is worth it. But here's the truth, growth is rarely loud. Real progress happens quietly, in the background, one small, consistent step at a time. It's easy to be motivated at the start, when the vision is fresh and the possibilities seem endless. But the real test comes in the middle, when the excitement fades, when the routine sets in, when the obstacles start to multiply. That's when most people start to lose momentum, not because they don't care, but because they don't see the results fast enough. We live in a world that rewards speed, that celebrates overnight success, and that makes slow progress feel like failure. But don't be fooled by that illusion. The truth is, lasting success is built brick by brick. Every day you choose discipline over distraction, you grow stronger, even if you can't feel it right away. Every time you get up and try again after a hard day, you're building endurance, character, and resilience. These things don't make headlines, they don't always show in numbers or trophies, but they are the foundation of anything meaningful, and over time, the compound effect of these small efforts adds up to something powerful. Consistency is the secret ingredient that most people overlook. You don't have to be extraordinary every day, you just have to keep showing up. You just have to keep doing the work, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. Because eventually, those small steps begin to stack. What once felt like tiny efforts start to become massive shifts. You look back and realize just how far you've come, not because of one big leap, but because of hundreds of quiet, determined steps forward. So when you're tired, when you're unsure, when the path feels slow, rusted, progress is being made. The seeds you're planting today may not bloom tomorrow, but they will bloom. Keep showing up for yourself. The work you're doing is not wasted. It's preparing you for what's ahead. You have something unique to offer the world, something no one else can bring, Your perspective, your voice, your experiences, your talents, they are yours alone. And even if it feels like you're just one person, just one effort among millions, that doesn't make what you have any less valuable. In fact, it's the opposite, because the world doesn't need more copies. It doesn't need more people giving up on themselves or shrinking to fit into someone else's mold. It needs people who are willing to show up as they are, who are brave enough to keep going even when it's hard. There's a reason you started on this path. There's a reason you care. That reason matters. You were not meant to blend in. You were not meant to fade quietly into the background. You were meant to build, to contribute, to grow into something bigger than fear or failure or doubt. And no one else can walk this path for you. That's the responsibility and the gift you carry. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, there will be times when you feel like you're not enough. Times when it feels like nothing is changing, when progress is slow and the burden feels heavy. But that's exactly when your voice matters most. That's when your decision to keep going, to keep showing up for your dream, sends a message not just to yourself, but to the world, that you will not be silenced by struggle, and you will not be defined by difficulty. There are people you haven't met yet, problems that haven't been solved yet, lives that won't be touched unless you keep going. You may not see it now, but your persistence is shaping more than your future. It's shaping your character, your impact, your legacy. So if you're tired, rest. If you're frustrated, breathe, but don't quit. Don't let the darkness of the moment make you forget the power of your light. Your effort matters, your story matters, and you are not finished yet. Keep going. You are closer than you think, and the world is waiting for what only you can bring.